Welcome. Today we're going to be discussing the technique intellectual departure, its execution, some things that you should know about its execution, and some things in general that you should just know about the technique. Keep in mind that this technique was originally part of yellow belt from the 70s into the 80s, and then during the 80s at some point it was removed. There is a problem with removing it from the system, and that problem is it fits into the yellow belt series. So if you go through the yellow belt series, we have delayed sword, which takes this line, then we have sword of destruction, which takes this line, we have deflecting hammer, which takes this line, and if you remove intellectual departure, you're missing the last line, which is that line. So keep that in mind that if you don't do this technique, you are missing that line, and it's very important to get that line, and we'll get into that why. So intellectual departure, intellectual meant that the fact that you are actually doing a natural motion, which was this block here that's going on. If you think about this block, it is basically the inside version of deflecting hammer. Just like deflecting hammer does a pull, a frictional pull, just like that, intellectual departure is supposed to do the same thing, which is, if you want to think about it, the same thing as what's going on here, or with lone kimono, as we go this way, okay? So it's a frictional pull, it's not just a block. So if you are just pushing it away, you can get much better response if you do a pull or do this way, because of what's going to be coming next. Okay? So let's talk about the step and what's going on with the left hand. So as we begin to step back, what we want to do pretty much in this case is just step almost directly behind us. We can go slightly to our left if we wish to, but anywhere from just off rear to just off to the left rear flank. So as we do the step, we want to turn and pull, and then we want to bring this left hand up so that we're checking just in case there's hands or anything up here I need to worry about because my right hand is down. But we also want the alignment of our heel to be directly towards this opponent. Okay? So let's talk about the proper way of doing the next maneuver. The next maneuver is going to be a back kick directly into anywhere between the bladder, upper groin area. It doesn't really matter exactly where, but as long as you're going to be pushing them back to a certain degree or pushing their butt back, similar to what we do in, say, thrusting prongs, where we push their hips back or potentially push them back a little bit more. So let's talk about how this thing is supposed to be executed. You are not supposed to do the way it just showed you, where you turn, pull, and set. Why not? Because if you look at the hip, this is very similar to what's going on in triggered salute. So if the opponent pushes us, we want to use this in order to get forward momentum. So the maximum we can go here in triggered salute is all the way into a horse. Okay? We don't want to turn away because then we're starting to turn our shoulders away. So it's before the apex, on the apex, and after the apex. So in this case, what we're going to do is slightly different than what we do in triggered salute, but the same general concept. Instead of hitting before the apex, we're going to hit on the apex. So as we begin to do this kick, we're going to hit on that apex. You don't want to turn away and then throw the kick and add that extra delay and potentially moving our way away from. So what we want to do is push that way rather than rotate, then kick. Okay? So once we've done that, the opponent's going to bend like that. We now have our right hand checked across. This is very similar to what we do in checking the storm, where we get this rotation and then we do the kick and hit. But what's going to happen here is we're going to do the hit first and then the kick. So what's going to happen is as we do this hit, set, rotate. That is going to add a lot more torque to what we're going to be doing. But there's a problem that could potentially happen here. I do the kick and I do it really strong. Boom! And I send this guy way back where I cannot hit him. So what do I have to do? What I have to do is I have to switch the second and third maneuvers. So I would cover the distance first and then back knuckle. If they do not move, then what you can do is the rotation first and then the distance. So you go 1, 2, slide up, take that leg out. And see what's happening here? They're basically going to split and drop, and then I can potentially cross out. So keep that in mind. The second and third can be switched. It doesn't matter which way you're going to do it. Depends upon what that opponent's doing, as to whether you do the second first or the third first. So let's do a quick run through real quick. We're going to be stepping, do not turn away, get beforehand, frictional pull, get the kick, get him push a little bit and bend, get our right hand across, turn as we settle into the back knuckle, that'll hit anywhere along the side of the head. Now this is a gauge, so you can gauge up however far you need. In this case, not very far. Take out the other leg, cross out and cover. So one more time, slightly faster so that you can see it. Hope this video helps you. Thank you very much.